Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your Power Packed Podlets. My name is Rachel and I'm your host for these weekly podcast episodes together. And this week we're diving into day 3 of 7, where we're covering over these 7 weeks, 7 principles to help you build incredible success, the type of success that you potentially can't even dream of right now because it seems so far beyond your current reality, but also for you to have the most incredible time along the way and for you to be healthy and happy. Now, the healthy and happy part is super, super important because I see so many business owners really disconnecting from their happiness, really disconnecting from their health and their well-being, either burning out or going into stress response on a daily or just a regular basis as they're building their businesses. And so today's subject, we're going to be talking about something really, really essential on your business path. Because however successful you become, the goalpost will often always move. And it can move in multiple different directions. For some of you, it moves to greater levels of impact. Some of you, it's greater levels of income, so financial freedom or stability. For some of you, it's greater levels of time freedom or doing more of what you're passionate about. But you will find, and if you look back in time in your life, when you've had a goal you've been moving towards, once you reach that goal, then your goal changes. And so for us to be healthy and happy and genuinely enjoying our lives and everything we're doing on the paths towards our goals, I mean, this is where life is lived, right? Life isn't lived in the goal. Life is lived in the path towards our goals and visions. In fact, our goals and visions are signposts. They're focal points. They give you direction on your path. They give you a reason to move towards something, to learn things, to grow, to have new experiences, different conversations. In fact, goals are the gift because they give us a reason to want to move towards more. A desire, a hunger. For some of us, it can feel like a discomfort as well, moving away from discomfort and towards more pleasure, towards more freedom. But that's the gift, because it's giving us the opportunity to want to learn more, to want to explore, letting go of our conditioned programs that get in the way of experiencing more freedom within and more freedom externally. So today's topic is inner safety. Today we're going to be diving into something so important no matter where you are in your business journey. You could already be incredibly successful. In fact, if you are already really successful and you do not experience inner safety, it's even more important because you're holding more responsibility, potentially team, and there are other people working for you. You're providing for your family. You're providing for your future. And so inner safety is vitally important, not just for you, because it's what you model to those around you and what you normalize for the people that you care about. So as I said in previous weeks, these are audio trainings I drop into this incredible WhatsApp group. It's a free space it's called Empowered Embodied Entrepreneurs. So it's for women on the path. And what I mean by on the path, it's women who are doing the inner work, interested in self-mastery, in well-being, in spirituality, in those deep philosophical conversations, but who are also either building a business, running multiple businesses, or thinking about it. So these are trainings I've dropped in that space. If you would like to be a member of that space, do send me a DM and I will send you the link. I don't share the link publicly because we do filter who's coming through and make sure that people are a match. We don't have bots coming into the space. But also, if you would like to go deeper, there are many other ways that we can work together. What I will do is I will share my Linktree link in the description to this podcast episode, and you can explore all of the different ways that we can work together, free or paid. Now, if you're ready to have some support where you're paying to be coached, mentored, education, or to be in a community, then maybe we want to have a chat first, and you can get to find out, we can have a conversation and see if one of my paid spaces is a fit for you. So enjoy this week's episode, and I would love to hear how you get on. Do drop in the comments what lands for you, because I do read everything that you write, and I love to hear what you have to say, and I love to connect with you all. So before I go into the story I want to share with you today, One of the things that successful and thriving business owners prioritize is not having to hold everything by themselves and not having to make all decisions within the four walls of their own experience. Because when we are emotionally involved with what we're creating, which if it's something you're creating that's you're passionate about and that's important to you, not only is the emotional involvement focused on, I don't know, creating time and financial freedom, it also means something to you, what you're making. And when there's sometimes there's an emotional attachment to what you're creating, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees in your business. So you could be navigating success in one arena and failure in another, and not able to really understand the lessons from the failure while celebrating the success because you're so emotionally involved. Or maybe you've studied a lot to understand like messaging and marketing for your business, which I've been studying that for a long time. I'm really good at messaging and marketing. I still pay somebody to help me with it because one, it means that I'm not holding all of the decisions myself. It means that I'm getting other perspectives, and it's somebody who sits me down and actually takes me through the things. Sometimes I just want somebody else to organize me because there is so much I'm organizing. Just like in a company, right? A big company that employs multiple people, the ones who founded it, the managers, they're not doing everything. They delegate to team members. And I prefer, this is a preference of mine, I have a very small team. I'm very specific with the type of people I hire. And then I pay experts who are my coaches and mentors and teachers to help me with the other stuff so we can sit down and brainstorm. And so this is a big thing, that whatever format it may be in, look to really thriving business owners and you will see that they have a team around them. And they will have people who are probably a lot further along the path than them, that know things that they don't, they're advising them. And they're holding up the mirror for them to see what they're not able to see, but also people who aren't emotionally involved in their process. And so this is why, as a coach, I trust coaches who have coaches. One, because I know that they're not just locked in to thinking they know everything. But it's also, I know that they're resourced and I know they're supported. And therefore, I know that the likelihood of them being regulated and in their power is much, much greater. So today is really about another one of 7 pillars to success. Again, it's an internal pillar. Yes, there's strategy in hiring people, whether you're paying a coach or you're hiring a team, but it's understanding that it's only normal on our journeys as business owners for us to face fears, have doubts, not know what to do, including when we're an expert in something, have so much emotion around a thing that we're not able to see it for what it is and see the lessons and the logic and the next steps. And it just makes sense to have people around us, not friends and family. We do not put the onus on them. It's people that we pay in some way who play that role for us within our business context. And so look to people who are thriving. Guaranteed they are not doing it 100% on their own. And this really links into the story I want to share with you today, because for a lot of people in business, anxiety and overwhelm and burnout is a normal part of growth. And this does not have to be the case. Like, if you're wanting to have an incredible time whilst building your dreams, so it's not just when you arrive at the goal that you're happy, you're actually happy along the way. A massive, massive part of this is creating everything from a place of inner safety. And I know this because of the stark contrast of having built things from a completely different inner landscape. Just to give a little bit of context, I believe I shared in one of the previous days how one of the businesses that I set up, so I've set up 4, one of the businesses I set up completely failed. It brought no money in. In fact, it's actually dried up my savings and my then partner's savings. And we took out a loan, which we were still paying off for a considerable amount of time after we dissolved that business. And it was such a learning journey. I learned some really hard and very important lessons in that experience. And so when quarantine arrived, when we went into quarantine, I was already just getting by because I had no cushion to fall back on. And I was in a place where I thought everything was okay, but really within me, unconsciously, I knew it wasn't. And so when my business that I was running then, that was actually doing really well, I had, lots of clients, had a reputation. I was known for being really good at what I did. If somebody would cancel, I'd be able to fill it within a few minutes, that session. So that wasn't an issue in my business. But when we entered quarantine, because mine was a front-facing business, suddenly income stopped. Not only was nothing coming in, but people who owed me money from a few months back, different studios and different establishments, they didn't have the means to pay me. And I suddenly found myself in a position with no savings, no income. There was salary that I hadn't been paid for a period of time, and I wasn't able to pay rent. I wasn't able to pay rent. I wasn't able to buy food. And so I found myself in a severe fight or flight response for a considerable period of time. Even though, because I'm an action taker, I started to take action, money started to come in. At first, it was in slow dribs and drabs because I was having to rewrite the functioning of my business. Even once money was coming in properly, what that experience did, it really knocked me. And it took me into this fight or flight of realizing the lack of safety I had financially. It made me really realize, and it was quite a shock, how quickly I could go from being able to feed myself and pay my bills to not being able to pay anything at all. And it was not an enjoyable experience, and it was the lesson that I needed to wake the fuck up. It woke me up and made me realize that even though there were months in that business that I was running prior to quarantine that I was making 3,000 euros when I was working really hard, I would make 3,000 euros before quarantine. I realized I couldn't go back to that model because I didn't have savings to keep me safe. The moment I stopped working, money wasn't coming in. The moment I got a cold, I'd get very stressed and the cold would last longer because I realized money wasn't coming in. And I thought, I'm not doing that to myself again. And so in my mind and in my nervous system, my prospects for the future were really scary. And night after night, day after day, I was going through this nervous system process of chronic anxiety of being in survival mode because I didn't know what my future held. And that lasted longer than it needed to. It was about 18 months, potentially 2 years, that I would go to bed. I started to get bruxism, and it took a really long time for that to go away. I'm talking years after that anxiety, I still had bruxism. And I would wake up in the middle of the night with heart palpitations, and it was really scary. And so what this really taught me is that how your nervous system, so my nervous system at that time, how it was responding to what life was showing me. If I'd continued that way, I would have burnt out to the point I wouldn't have been able to continue. And I'm so grateful that I started to incorporate the healing work I'd already known from working with body dysmorphia and eating disorders and helping people with addictions. I then incorporated that into healing my relationship with safety, with financial security, and building a trust-based relationship with money. And the reason I'm sharing this story with you is not that you have to be in the same position, but if you are experiencing anything that causes distress in your nervous system, it is completely unnecessary. I spent a period of time, however long it was, really healing my responses to money, to finances, to money going down, money coming up, and thinking about my future. Otherwise, I would have always been in a perpetual state of I don't have enough in savings yet. And that is not a good place to be because the nervous system is always on alert and it's always looking for the problems and the challenges that are going to knock us off our path. And so we're never really trusting the process and really enjoying the journey. So my question to you is, in what arenas in life and business are you constantly in a state of ultra awareness, where you're not able to fully let go and surrender, where you're not able to fully drop into trust, where you're not in a place of complete inner safety, but you're actually questioning things all of the time? You're looking to future context, thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? Rather than not just trusting the universe, but trusting yourself and your capacity to do what is required to get what you need and want. Because this is really where the work is. As business owners, but just as humans in general, trusting yourself and holding inner safety as your dominant state of being, this is what being happy, including when things are hard, is about. This is what having a great time is all about. And this is not just the nervous system work, it's the spiritual work. Because when we really get into this conversation, yes, we're talking about nervous system patterns and programs. So right now, a lot of what's causing you stress is not because it's truth and it's the only possibility. It's just your nervous system has learned to protect you from what it perceives as being dangerous. Just like I told you in a previous audio, I used to think that women were dangerous. And so in all of my interactions, my fight or flight response was activated because I didn't know if that woman in front of me was safe. And so in really subtle interactions with life and the things we're in relationship with, which is absolutely everything in your life, there will be things where you completely trust, and then there will be things where you don't. And stress is not a state of being, stress is a tool. We activate stress for a purpose, and then we put it down when we've completed that purpose. Running up a hill, getting out of bed in the morning, lifting a heavy weight, going into cold water, swerving away from a car that's about to drive into you. We activate stress response, and then when the action is completed, we put it back down. And the natural way for us as human beings is to enter into the dominant state of presence and beingness. It's not that we stop doing and taking action, but as we take action, we're taking it from a place of not having to overthink, not having to analyze, not having to control future outcomes or imagine what might happen if we don't get it right. We're actually able to take every step in our lives from a place of complete trust and surrender. And the only way we can do this is by understanding the patterns, the automated responses that we have to life, and then taking full responsibility for the ones that we choose to consciously change. So if right now, as you interact with your business, there are arenas in which you do not feel safe, you can choose to continue in that way. But then the question is, where will you be in a year's time? In 5 years' time? The question is, do you believe you can tap into abundance when you're in the state of contraction? Do you think it's possible that when you're contracted, things can also expand in your life? That idea of taking a big breath, not holding your breath. Where are you holding your breath in your life? And so this is why the nervous system work, the body, in the spiritual practices in business are so vitally important. Now, I'll leave you with one thought, because let's integrate the spiritual practices into the nervous system work as well. Now, before I go into sharing the spiritual work with the nervous system work, for those of you, you're really enjoying these audios and you would like more of this, I'm going to do something. I've got something that you can get your hands on for free and you're going to absolutely love it. So we host live events for free every X amount of times a year. We're now doing them a lot less. So it looks like we'll do 1 to 2 per year. And you no longer have access. After about 2 weeks, we remove access to those events, and we have people who watch the sessions 3 times each session. They're 4 sessions, by the way, because they are that good. And what I'm going to do is I'm giving you the opportunity to get your hands on one of those trainings. For free, lifetime access. It comes with a PDF. You've got a space you can go into. You can watch them as many times as you like. And it's specifically about mapping out your first 6 figures in your business. And if you've been listening in, you'll realize that it's not just about strategy. A lot of it is understanding the inner mastery, the nervous system, the mind, and you're going to have a lot of aha moments. So if you would like to tap into that, if you would like free access, all you have to do is think of 3 women in your life who would really benefit from these 7 trainings that we're doing and would love to be in a space like this, and invite them to come in. Invite them to come into the WhatsApp group. Let them know what it's about. Don't just add them. Let them know what it's about. We do things based on permission. Invite them in. They can come in or not. They don't have to, but 3 people. Just let me know once you've invited 3 humans, and I will get you access, or my team will get you access to those trainings. So, spirituality and nervous system. One of the things I love to teach within both the certification and level 1 that we offer within my online school is understanding some of the yogic philosophy around the yamas and niyamas. Now, you can look at it through the yogic philosophy, you can look at it through many other types of philosophy. In most spiritual texts, the teachings are very similar. And one part of the yogic philosophy that is so useful when it comes to business and happiness is the yamas and niyamas. And one of my clients, she asked a little while ago, how can I focus on having a desire and having a goal, but at the same time practice non-attachment? Because this is really where that place of inner peace and inner safety is found. It's understanding the capacity to hold nuance, not just within your mind, but within your body. And this is what I call self-mastery. Self-mastery is understanding the frequential difference between things and how to feel them and express them through you and therefore live them in your lives. So some of the yamas and niyamas, they talk about the importance of non-attachment, the importance of discipline, the importance of non-violence towards self and others in words, thoughts, and actions. And when we read through these texts, they can come across as being, quite banal. But when you can actually understand how to integrate them and live them somatically through your body and live them in your life as expressed through frequency, breath, and body itself, it is incredible the change in your experience that happens. So I invite you to play with the idea of what does it look like to have a goal without being attached to needing the goal, to know that you are happy in the present moment. I'm going to say that again in other words, because the spiritual practice of growth, because you are here as a spiritual being having a human experience with the desire to grow and learn, that you will probably find, and you notice this, that when you're in a period that's quite long where you're not learning and growing, there's something in you that feels really uncomfortable. You start to get a little itchy and scratchy. And if you don't do anything to scratch that itch, that desire to learn and expand and have new experiences, you will likely turn to addictive mechanisms, such as scrolling on social media, overeating foods you shouldn't eat, binge watching things on television, smoking, drinking, whatever it may be. There can be other things that lead us to those actions. This is one of the reasons. Because there is life within you with the desire of expansion of itself. It is a calling on a biological and soul-based level that's saying, let's go out there and grow and evolve and expand. Every single cell of your being is life that has evolved over billions of years to become this complex biosphere that is your body, that's gone from being a single-celled organism into communities of single cells and viruses and bacteria that function as your vessel. What determines your thoughts and feelings is not just you, it is every single cell of life within you that is desiring to multiply and procreate. It is a biological drive for evolution, an exploration of this physical realm that we live within. And so if you feel this consistent calling for more, that the carrot seems like it's always moving a little bit further away from you, you can either live that as a very stressful experience, or you can live it as a very expansive one. There's a helicopter passing overhead. You can live it as an incredibly expansive one. Okay, I was waiting for the helicopter to go over because it's pretty close to the house. And here is the nuance in the difference of that experience. The nuance difference is that whenever you have a goal to move towards, you never relax, you're never really present, you're never really enjoying who you are and what you have in the now, because you are always focusing on some future moment when you're reaching another destination. And that isn't just understood in mind, it is felt in your body. It is felt like an inertia of life, and where I'm at and who I am is never good enough. When we are able to practice desire with non-attachment, is the pure joy of having a goal to move towards because of who you get to become, what you get to explore, and the people you get to meet on the path to it. And when we are able to experience things from that place, it changes the frequency of our experiences. So, for those of you who are listening along, some of you are already clients, some of you are contemplating becoming a client, some of you have been literally just arrived into my space, and so we're just getting to know one another. These types of conversations we're having, when we're exploring things not just through the lens of strategy, we're understanding the spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental experience of growth and of being a human creating a business. If this is the sort of way that you wish to be guided and supported in your journey, if this is the focus you want when it comes to building and growing and success, then the School of Holistic Success is going to feel like home. This is what I help my clients with. It is not just building a mission-based business. It's not just about building, financial and time freedom and location freedom on your own terms. It's about knowing thyself and exploring your experience, finding peace within and peace with self as you learn and grow. Because, as I've said, business will stretch you. It will stretch your belief in yourself. It will highlight where you do not believe that you are worthy. It will show you where you seek validation in the world exterior to you, but you will only be able to see it when you are present. And as long as you are only within the four walls of your own experience, you only know what you know. And it's really hard to go beyond that. So if you would like to explore what it looks like to work with me, to be inside my community of like-minded women, then send me a DM. We have a membership system where you sign up to work with us for a minimum of a year, although most of my clients, they stay for 2, 3, and some have just signed up for their 4th year. I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow for day 4 of 7. I can't wait for what comes through to share with you in the next 3 trainings together.